Hey guys, we're going to talk about domain and range today. So kind of what's important here is that you know that domain are your x values and range are your y values. Another thing that's worth talking about and worth remembering is that in an ordered pair, your x value is first, y value is second. Also, if you're given a chart, if it's a vertical chart like this one, x values are on your left, y values are on your right. If it's a horizontal box like the one below, x values are on the top, y values are on the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple of examples from Study Island, like a Study Island worksheet, so you have them to look at and to use and to write down. So what I do is, if I were you, I'd pause this video, write this stuff down in a notebook. I'm going to show you, hold on. So this stuff I'll put up on my website, so you could just print it, or you could write question 1 for domain and range, question 2, blah, 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 or etc. I'm sorry. And then you could just go back to it. So you don't have to print it or anything. You don't have to write it all out, just so you have access to it. So you'll have access to this. I'll put this up. So right now, what you're looking at are questions that I took right from a worksheet from Study Island. So when you go and do the Study Island, refer to this. You should be set with all the different types of questions. So the first question says, what is the range of the set of ordered pairs above? So they give you 1, 2, 3, 4 ordered pairs. Now remember, in the ordered pair, the left-hand side, your x values, the right are your y's. That's a y. I'm sorry, using my fingers. It's asking what is the range. So like I showed you in my notes before, range are your y values. So I'm just going to write down my y values. So if I'm looking in the right-hand side of each ordered pair. In my first ordered pair, -4 is my y value. -6 in the second ordered pair is my y value for the second one. In the third, it's -9. And in the fourth and last ordered pair, -13 is my y value. Now, all you have to do is find the set that matches that. So A says -4, -6, -9, -13. Well, that's exactly what I wrote down. So A must be my answer. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for the question 2. I don't know if you could see it that well. It says, according to the table below, what is the domain? So you're given a graph. Okay, your x values are in your left-hand column, and your y values are in the right-hand column. So let me get this. So basically, this side, all of this, they're your x values. So all you have to do is find the choice that represents that. So let me see if I can make this. There we go. So A says 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, and 4.5. Well, that's exactly what I highlighted. So A must be my answer. Okay. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just remember that domain are x values, range are your y values. The next one, we're given a graph. Okay. It's asking, what is the domain of the following graph? So this graph, it starts right here, and it follows this little, weird pattern. Let me undo that. Okay. So it's asking for what the domain is. And now remember, domain are your x values. And this horizontal line, that's ugly. This horizontal line right here, that's your x-axis. So we have to see where the line hits our x's, okay? What x's that the line covers, okay? So this line starts right here at this -4, okay? It comes over here to this -2, and you see there's a little open circle at -2. Let me undo that because I have to go over it nicely. I'm sorry. Oh, why is it doing that? I'm sorry. Okay, but the hole is filled up with this dot above it. So technically, it's not really a break in the graph because that hole, or that point that's at -2, 4, that fills in. So your x values haven't stopped yet. Okay, even though it seems like it stopped on the way up, it's still covered right here at that point. All right, that's above it. So far, my graph has hit every single x value. All right, it's still going. It's still hitting these x values, and it goes all the way over to here. Okay, so there's another bold dot at 4. And that's where the graph seems to stop. So even though there's a hole in the graph right at -2, it was filled in by the point at -2, 4. So technically, it still hit the point -2. All right. So what you're going to do, if you're asked the question, what is the domain, you're going to see what x values it hit. So it hit -4 all the way over to this +4. Okay. Now it's asking domain, and domain is x. So A says -4 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 4. Well, your domain is your x values, not your y values. So it can't be A. Same reasoning, it can't be D, because domain has nothing to do with your y values. It has everything to do with your x values. B says it goes from 1 to 4, which is not true. C says it goes from -4 to +4, which is exactly what we just said. Okay, now it says that x is in the middle. That just means that x spans from -4 all the way to +4. Okay, if I were to break this apart and put x on both sides, you see how the x is pointing, or the inequality is pointing at -4, open towards x. And you see how it's closed towards x, but open up towards +4. So that basically what that means is x is bigger than -4, which is true because there's nothing that's less than -4 on this line that we have. And x is less than or equal to +4, which is also true because it doesn't go bigger than +4. So x is sandwiched right in between the two numbers, -4, +4. All right. So this is like an and value here. Question 4, kind of similar question to number 1. It's asking what the domain is. So again, your domain are your x values, range are your y values. So your x values are as follows. In the first ordered pair, it's -5. Second ordered pair, it's 1. Third is +5. And fourth, it's 8. And A doesn't match that. B doesn't, C doesn't, but D does. All right, and that's that. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay. Question 5. It asks the elements of a function of x, are 1, -2, 2, -4, and 4, -7. It's asking what the range is. So basically a function is something that would pass the vertical line test, okay? It's for every x value, there's a unique y value and vice versa. Okay, so the range are just your y value. So you have 3 ordered pairs. I'm writing with my finger. That's why that y looks weird. So in the first ordered pair, you have 1, -2. So -2 is your y value. The next ordered pair, you have 2, -4. So -4 would be your y value. And the last ordered pair, it's 4, -7. -7 is your y value. So A doesn't match it, B doesn't match it, neither does C. But -7, -4, -2, they're written in ascending order, going from small to big, but they're all there. So it doesn't matter the order in which they're written. Okay. Question 6. Question 6 says, what is the domain of the function graphed below? So this function here, f of x equals -4 minus 7, is basically the graph of a line. So remember, a function just means that it would pass the vertical line test. And this looks very similar to y equals mx plus b because it's essentially the same thing. So f, oh, that looks super bad. I'm super sorry. Hold on, let me retry. I'm going to try really hard. I'm writing with my finger. f of x equals mx plus b. The plus is, which is essentially y equals mx plus b, which we all know is the equation of a line. Now, what this graph lacks are these arrows to tell us that it's going from negative all the way up, all the way down. And it's going to hit absolutely every single value, okay? Every single value on the graph will be hit by this line, slowly or quickly, it doesn't matter. All right, but it's going to touch, it's going to go up as high as it can and over to the left as far as it can, till infinity, and it's going to go down as far as it can, and over to the right as far as it can to positive infinity. So we're talking about our x values. So all of our choices have x values. And if it is, they're asking for the domain of a line, which they are, that is going to go from negative infinity all the way up to positive infinity. Okay, lines will hit absolutely every single point. So D would be your answer there. All right. Number 7 is basically the same thing that we did above. So it's asking for the domain. Domain are your x values. So C would be your answer there. If it asks for the range, you would do 1.13, 0.93, etc. It's asking for the range of this. Now, this is not a graph of a line. Do you see? I don't know if you could see. There we go. Now you could. It has solid dots. So this does not go on forever. Okay. It's asking for the range. So your range is your y values. So you're going from this part all the way down to this part. Okay. And that's the only y values that that line seems to hit. So all the way down here, it's at -9. And all the way up here, and all the way up here, it's at +8. So that's what y is. All you have to do is put the y in between those two values. The smallest number goes on the left, the bigger number goes on the right. So it should go from -9 all the way up to +8, which is represented by D. Okay. Number 9, it's asking for the range, and we already did a question similar to this, so it would be 8, 9, -9, which is C. Number 10, it's asking for the range. So this is very similar to the one that we just did up there. So we're just looking for our y values. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so our y values, this is our y-axis, this is the one that goes straight up and down. So I'm going to draw my line over to the y. So that y value is over here at -3. And the one all the way down here is at -8. So y is in between -8 and -3. It's, since they're like solid dots, I'm going to erase this a little bit so you can see that it's a solid dot. Since that's a solid dot right there, it's included. So -3 is included, and so is -8. So it will be less than or equal to two signs, okay? The smaller number always goes on the left. The bigger number is always on the right, okay? So -8, -3, they're solid because that was a closed circle. So A is our answer for that. So I think that domain and range is pretty much covered. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. All right. Pause this video at any time to see a better write whatever you need to down. But like I said, send me an email, send me a remind message, and I will help you with whatever you need to. Check out this this form. They give you explanations here at the bottom, maybe better than mine. And whatever you need, I'm here for you guys. All right.